Everyone feeling the Bob Marley vibe? Well, this is The Verdict. Thank you for your company. Medical marijuana is on the verge of becoming a reality in Australia, but should our leaders follow our North American friends and go one step further, legalising marijuana full stop for recreational use? Canada's new Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, is in favour of legalising marijuana, which would become a billion-dollar business, helping to bankroll tax cuts and infrastructure. More money for governments, more quality control. Is this the road Australia should be travelling? Peter FitzSimons, have you ever partaken in the...
Of course I have. And unfortunately for me, I've hated it. I've had it 5 times, and luckily for me, I've hated it every time. And every time I said, I won't have it again. The last time I had it, I was 23, and I said, I'm just not going to do this again. However, in the question of, do I support dope? I don't like dope. I wish people wouldn't smoke dope. Should we ban it? Of course not. It doesn't work. It never has worked. It never will work. You look at the North American experience, net number of people smoking in Colorado has fallen, and they're putting police resources towards fights they can win. In the real world, you just have to acknowledge that all your prohibition on drug laws doesn't work. Let me hear you say, hey.
Amanda Vanstone, when you were a young uni student, idealistic, did you partake?
Look, someone said that what they'd given me was marijuana, but it didn't make a cracker of difference. So I just sort of gave it back and didn't think much of it and haven't bothered since. I don't see what people see in it. I'm not sure about... In South Australia and a number of states, as you know, it's legalised for personal use. You can have, I think, up to 3 plants. But let me tell you what I found out when I was Justice Minister. What bikie gangs do is find someone who's got a big mortgage, young couple. Say, now, look, you've got 1 room spare. We'll put hydroponics in there and we'll grow 3 plants. They'll be ours and you'll get so much off your mortgage. So you don't want to kid yourself that you can just say, oh, OK, everyone can use it, it'll be OK recreationally, that you won't in some way be encouraging bikie gangs, etc, etc. And we know that for a whole range of drugs, including marijuana, some people it affects badly. I don't think we should be saying to people, oh, we don't care, you can have cocaine if you like, you might get hooked, you might be an addict, might ruin your life, it doesn't matter. I don't think we should say that. But I do accept and acknowledge that picking on the individual at the very bottom is a waste of police resources, and we need to focus on that and find ways to shift it further up the chain.
OK, Jamila.
I don't think it's the time to have this debate. For me, the most important issue here is that people who are terminally ill or in a lot of pain get access to marijuana for medical purposes. And I think when you combine the debates and you try and have the recreational use debate now, you put a lot of people offside on the medicinal use debate. So I'd rather not confuse the two, just focus on the medicinal debate right now, because that's one that needs to be won. Yeah, Pauline, for you? Back in the day?
Totally agree with you. I've been advocating for the medicinal cannabis for the last 2.5 years, so I totally agree with that. I've got to say that when I was younger, I tried the marijuana 3 times. Actually, when I
think I remember you.
No.
Same party.
I certainly don't remember you.
Well, that might have been the marijuana.
Yeah, it probably was, because I tell you what, I was really spaced out of my head.
I know. I think I remember you. I said I'm going to have red hair like you for the rest of my life, and I've never recovered.
Honestly, and if you're going to legalise it, and then if you put me in a car and I had to drive, I would know where I was then or going. No, you've got to think twice about this. I'm not interested in the drugs and marijuana now. Yeah. But what you've got to get... Why do we need drugs in our society? When I was a kid, we grew up, we were high in life. We got out there, enjoyed, going to the beach or doing sports or watching a movie. Why do people need to be drugged up to enjoy life?
I agree with you. I agree with you, but do you think... I would rather they didn't. I agree with you.
Reasons.
But do you think prohibition works?
I don't know. I can't say whether it is. I'm not going to give my...
won't work either.
I'm not going to say yes and then be sorry for my comments down the track when it has affected people's lives.
OK, Mark,
people should have a say in this.
Well, I've probably been changing my views during the course of the informative debate because...
you definitely tried.
We live in a world of conflict and division, troubled times, and... Here it is, the old hooch bringing FitzSimons and Hanson together.
It's the peace party.
Oh, come on, I think simultaneously at one time in history.
Party.
So I'm starting to sit on the fence here.
Come on.
And as for my personal use, it's a bit like Woodstock. If you remember it, you weren't really there.
All right, that's a big yes.
What about...
Well, yeah, I mean, imagine if all politicians had to blaze up before Parliament kicked off. It would make things
Amanda
a lot more interesting.
once recommended compulsory drug testing in Parliament.
Yeah, but I mean, look, I think that...
Well, that's not quite right. I recommended
the Labor Party will
compulsory
indeed...
drug testing.
The Greens wouldn't have passed one.
It's part of our ritual. I think that the way our drug laws work at the moment is incredibly broken. I think you can have a different position, which is I think we should treat this as a health issue and out of the criminal justice system and not say that you're recommending everyone take it up, right? Like, alcohol kills 15 people a day in Australia, alcohol-related illnesses. Tobacco-related deaths are 12% of total fatalities in Australia. We don't respond to that statistic and say, let's ban these things, let's let bikie gangs deal with it. We say, let's treat them as a public issue, let's regulate them, let's licence them, and let's deal with it publicly and not underground.
I speak on behalf of us all. You are way too smart for this show. You are embarrassing us all. We can't have informed opinion like that.
Years of smoking marijuana as well.
It's time you left, actually, buddy.
Come on.
But isn't it extraordinary that we've just gone around this panel, quite influential, high-profile people, that most have admitted...
And Amanda.
OK, maybe not influential, but high-profile, admitted to smoking marijuana at some stage, yet we still think that making it illegal is somehow a realistic option. Australians actually have...
Not in most states.
Australians have the highest rate of cannabis use in the world, right? And it is crazy that there are, I think, 4 or 5 states now in the States, including Washington, D.C., Colorado, Oregon, that decided, and they said, look, making this illegal is just not working. People are going to smoke marijuana. Why do we let the bikie gangs profit off it instead of regulating it, licensing it, and making tax revenue to fund schools and hospitals? It's a no-brainer.
Well, because I think the medical jury is out on certainly long-term use, but also short-term use.
The medical jury is certainly in when it comes to the long-term and short-term use of tobacco and alcohol.
Yes, but if you've got 2 knives in your chest, you say, oh, bugger, I'll add a third?
But there's no evidence that making it legal
it's not a medical question.
We
We totally accept that it's damaging. It's seriously damaging. That's not the issue. The issue is putting resources towards this. It ain't working. It never has worked. It never will work.
Well, I agree with that. The answer isn't to go for a free-for-all.
OK, but as
I'm not talking about giving it free to every kid on the street who's interested in marijuana.
No, but a free-for-all as in take what you like.
It's to regulate it, to say we wish you wouldn't do this, but this is a problem of education. It's not a criminal
Let me let you in on a secret. It's actually not that hard to get marijuana now if you want to.
That's
how people...
You haven't answered. You've asked all of us. What about you, big fella?
All I know is that I'm going around Osman's place on Friday.
You're all more than welcome.
Does that answer the question? All right, thank you, guys. Let us know what you think at home, too, on Facebook and Twitter, and good evening to all the stoners out there. All week on 9jumpin.com.au, the verdict, we've been asking for your final verdict on this topic. Should marijuana be legalised for recreational use? The results, they will be interesting. Will our panellists share the same view? You're watching The Verdict across Australia. Welcome back to The Verdict. All week on 9jumpin.com.au, The Verdict, we've been asking you the big question, should we legalise marijuana for recreational use? Let's reveal your verdict. Here we go. All right, 54% say yes, so thanks to you all for taking part. That's a big number, isn't it? Do our panellists feel the same way? Remember, it will be green if they do support legalising cannabis for recreational use. If they don't think it should be, it will be red. Panellists, what is your verdict? All right, for the majority, it's no. It's a big surprise that Osman said yes.
Do I look like a stoner?
No, man.
I really want Pauline to know that the Muslim kids don't smoke or drink, so they're high on life.
Yeah.
All the little Muslim
That's
kids.
true. That's a good point. Well, thank you, everyone, for taking part. You'll find another question on Jump In next Monday. And if you'd like to be in our audience next Thursday, head to our Facebook page. Thank you to Osman, Mark, Pauline, Jamila, Amanda and Fitzy. And don't forget, Fitzy's got a brand new book out that is absolutely sensational. From Mel to Posier. It's a terrific read, Fitzy. Well done, and another great book. Every Australian should read that and grab it for Christmas for someone you love. But that's the show for this week. I'll see you on the Today Show tomorrow morning, just a couple of hours' time, and we'll be back next week to deliver The Verdict. I'm going to Osman's house. Good night.